Team Joshua is claiming that Deontay Wilder doesn't want to fight Anthony Joshua along with Tyson Fury. Stay tuned. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working. Now, let's jump into it. I went to the Wilder versus Dominic Breazeale press conference. He announced that he was staying with Showtime, and questions came up about the Dazn deal, $100 million. Now Barry Hearn's using this opportunity on the Daily Mail, link in the description, and you guys see the headliner says this shows us how he is thinking. It's clear Deontay Wilder does not want to get in the ring with Joshua. Barry Hearn claims WBC champion is ducking AJ after he rejects a $100 million Dazn deal. Deontay Wilder's decision to rebuff the $100 million TV deal from Dazn is the latest ploy to circumvent a potential clash with Anthony Joshua, according to Barry Hearn. WBC champion confirmed on Tuesday he has turned down the lucrative offer, which included 2 unification fights against Joshua, tendered by the Dazn digital streaming channel in favor of remaining faithful with Showtime. The move from Wilder, who is penciled in to defend against mandatory challenger Dominic Breazeale, New York, Barclays Center, May 18th, subsequently squashes any prospects of him facing Joshua this year, while a rematch against Tyson Fury also looks unlikely at this stage, which I don't know where they're getting that. Why, Frank Warren's applauded Wilder he did an interview with IFL TV, applauded Wilder for staying with Showtime and staying loyal to PBC, and he says that Tyson Fury and Wilder both want to fight so they can see the fight happening. So I don't know where the Daily Mail's getting that. There's a lot going on. Leave it to your boy. Smash the like button. We're gonna break this down. Head of Matchroom Sport Hearn insisted Wilder has no serious intention to face unified champion Joshua, saying on Tuesday, quote, "Wilder rejecting this deal shows what he is thinking. Luckily, the boxing fans today are smart enough to see that he doesn't want to get in the ring with Anthony Joshua. Nobody does, and that's the problem." Wow. He can say anything he wants, but it's obvious to everyone now that this is not coming from our side. Wilder has signed up with Showtime, and that makes this fight so much harder to make. We made this offer to try to make it easier, but there you go. It's a shame because Eddie Hearn has been pushing so hard to make Wilder Joshua fight, but it just isn't there. Wilder's been offered $100 million, but he thinks he can earn good money fighting lesser opponents, and then build up the purse to fight Joshua later down the line. Fury is the same. He doesn't want to know. We made him an offer and he turned us down. Neither of them actually want to fight Joshua. Wilder was also offered $15 million, 11.3 million pounds for a Wembley Stadium spectacular against Joshua last year before talks broke down, etc. Hearn fears that the current fragmented TV landscape could obstruct them from fighting each other for the foreseeable future. These fights may never happen because you have Wilder with Showtime, Fury with ESPN, and Joshua with Dazn. They are all signed up to different television networks in the US, and that is the real issue from the promotional side of things. I just can't see how these fights happen. The problem is none of them want to get beat. No one is blinking. If they get beat, everything is off the table, even for Joshua. Fury is in the worst position because he doesn't have a title, so he has no pulling power, and I think out of all 3 of them, he is the most beatable, right? Hearn also revealed that son Eddie Hearn is planning a U.S. invasion with Matchroom Stable, making an assault on America on 2 fronts over the coming months, etc. Anthony Corolla and Lomachenko, etc. Listen, let's talk about it. Now, this is, really some horse shit, and we're going to break it down new media style. It's funny because boxing fans, it's about retaliation. Joshua turned down $50 million. The world knows it. The world didn't understand it. Joshua says he didn't want to deal with American judges. One of the reasons he didn't want to deal with the referees, he said he owed it to the fans in the UK. He says they had to fight at Wembley and, all this stuff. And now he's fighting in America in his very next fight. Facts. That's all factual information, But he couldn't make $50 million. People got on Joshua's ass and said, what are you doing? And now people are trying to retaliate and compare this situation to Anthony Joshua turning out $50 million. So many differences. I've talked about it. We'll continue to talk about it, but just to give you guys a couple quick ones. The Joshua $50 million was to fight in the US, and it didn't include him being stuck on Showtime boxing for, 3 fights. That's one thing. Second of all, 3 fights for $100 million, versus 1 fight where you can get $50 million. $100 million divided by 2 is 50. So in 1 fight, Joshua was being offered as the flat fee just to show up, win, lose, or draw, half of what they're offering Wilder for 3 fights to boost up the Dazn network, right? Not including it was going to be a pay-per-view, and 50% was eligible to Joshua's side for the back-end pay-per-view money, versus Wilder. What he's being offered is, in essence, what Eddie Hearn already offered him, is just more money. It's a flat fee. He's going to get $20 million, they said, for the first fight, and $40 for fight 1, and $40 for fight fight 2 and fight 3, $40 million apiece. 2 40s, that's 80, plus 20 for the first one. Now, it's still a lot of money, but people aren't looking at the ramifications. Wilder is betting on himself. And the more I think about it, the more I realize Wilder definitely did the right deal, because you got to look at the landscape. And Barry Hearn, Eddie Hearn, they're not going to tell you this, but leave it to new media. And leave me a detailed comment if you disagree with what I'm saying. Don't just say I disagree. Tell me what you're disagreeing with. All right. Now, this is the thing. The current landscape of the heavyweight division is a lot going on. Tyson Fury just went to ESPN. They said Dillian White is going to leave. He wasn't contracted to Dazn. They said he's going to go to ESPN. They said Klitschko might come back to Dazn. Anthony Joshua has an upcoming fight with Gerald Miller, a 317-pound, man who throws a lot of punches, who's like an unknown variable because we haven't seen him in with anyone as good as Joshua. But, maybe, who knows? I think that could be a difficult fight for Joshua, to be honest. Just all things considered, the amount of punches he throws and his size. If he's durable and he could take a punch, then that could be a difficult fight for Joshua. So we don't even have an outcome for that. So one, this whole narrative that these fans are trying to throw out, well, Wilder ducked. He ducked. How did he duck when Joshua, before Dazn offered $100 million, already had a press conference done and he already had a fight with Gerald Miller? So how did he duck him? And we don't even know the outcome to that fight. What if Joshua loses? If Joshua loses to Gerald Miller, which is not above the realm of possibilities, right? And if it is, listen, put it this way. If it is above the realm of possibilities, then why is he fighting Gerald Miller? So you just want to see Anthony Joshua. Either way, you're trapped. That means if you think Joshua is going to beat Gerald Miller and there's absolutely 0% chance that Gerald Miller wins the fight, then how come Joshua didn't fight a better fight like Luis King Kong Ortiz or even Dillian White, who we know has already given Joshua problems and beat him in the amateurs, and they already had a pro first fight, and Dillian White looks to have improved. So either way, you're trapped right there, or you have to admit that the Gerald Miller fight is, there's a chance that Gerald Miller could do something. Even if he doesn't win, he has a chance to play spoiler in the sense of have, like you guys didn't win versus Sean Porter, but Sean Porter didn't really gain much from fighting you guys, because although he retained his title and he won, it was not a performance that people are raving about. Now you have people like Errol Spence and different people picking at him for the low ticket sales, and it just was a hard style to watch. So either way, the fans are trapped there. Gerald Miller, you have to, if you agree with me that there's a potential that Joshua could get beat or look bad in the fight, or you're going to think it's a one-sided beatdown. But then again, if that's the case and you feel that Joshua is fighting a guy who has no chance to win, then why is he fighting him? Gerald Miller ain't as mandatory. So we're putting stuff into perspective. You see how everything's shaping up now? So without knowing the outcome of Joshua versus Miller, which is, it's not a horrible fight, it's just we don't know what Gerald Miller could do at a Joshua level, who is at the top. He's at the top of the totem pole. He's part of the big three: Tyson Fury, Wilder, and Joshua, So either you think Gerald Miller has no shot, then again, why is he fighting him then? or you think that it could be a rough fight for Joshua and or he could lose. So why would Wilder commit to Dazn? And this article is saying he was assured the Joshua fights, but that's not entirely true from what I heard. Because how is he ensured? They could say that's the game plan of what they want to do, but how can they ensure him Joshua fights in the second and third fight if Joshua hasn't even got past Gerald Miller? How can you do that? You get what I'm saying? Unless, again, you think Gerald Miller has no chance to beat Joshua, which then again would pose the question, why is Joshua even fighting Gerald Miller as opposed to Dillian White, Luis Ortiz, Joe Joyce, or somebody who actually has a chance and would make a competitive fight? And again, Joshua was already signed up to fight against Miller before Wilder even met with Dazn. So once again, ask yourself simple questions and answer the simple questions. Do it in the comment section. How is Wilder ducking a person who already had a fight before he even got offered this offer? You know? Second of all, like I said, the contract, as I heard it, he was not assured the Joshua fight. There was no written contract where Joshua's name was signed. Tell Eddie Hearn and Barry Hearn to post a contract with Joshua, a signed contract that stipulated, even though we haven't got past Gerald Big Baby Miller, we promised to fight Wilder in fights 2 or 3 if he signs to Dazn. How would they do that when, again, he hasn't even got past Gerald Miller? So, there's a lot more complexities than people are making this out to be. They just want, Wilder's ducking. And some people are probably going to come here and say that bullshit. What I challenge all of New Media fans and Eagles Army fans to do is demand more from the fans. Don't just accept them saying whatever. Tell them to break it down. Wilder made a smart move. Like I said, wait till the dust settles till you get to see. We don't know who Tyson Fury is going to fight. Like I said, there's a lot of movement in the heavyweight division. Who is Tyson Fury going to fight? That's still a potential option. Frank Warren says Fury wants to fight. So ESPN, if Wilder has an emphatic knockout with Dominic Breazeale on Showtime, he could still possibly fight Tyson Fury in a much anticipated rematch. ESPN said they wanted a U.S. exposure fight for Deontay or for Tyson Fury, who is signed to them, right? And he's gonna get that, fight a tune-up or whatever, and then beyond that, maybe that fight happens. So Wilder would be limiting himself by making a decision right now and signing with all this stuff in tow. Is Klitschko coming back? Will Joshua look good and or convincingly beat Gerald Miller? Will he even beat him? Who's Tyson Fury fighting? Is Dillian White going to ESPN? He gonna be locked into some shit, but beyond all of those things, you got to look at in general. Cool, it sounds 100 million, sounds good. This is a streaming app. DAZN needs big fights still. They're still an unproven commodity as far as I'm concerned. They have not released any numbers to the public, anything like that, right? So that being said, they're looking to trap fighters, and lock fighters in to help get the DAZN boxing off of the ground. And they're trying to use Wilder's notoriety, star power, his knockout fighting style to lure people in. So how much money are they going to be getting? That's cool. Wilder gets 40 million. But if you look at it, how many people are going to sign up because of Wilder or Joshua? So you have to look at everything in context. Yeah, that's cool if Wilder gets 40 million, but how much is Joshua going to get? What if Joshua got one of the Mayweather type purse? You get what I'm saying? So everything's in context. If Joshua getting 180 million and then Wilder's stuck at 40 million and then DAZN's pocketing the rest. You get what I'm saying? Because, we're used to pay-per-views being 80, 90 bucks or whatever. This is definitely a pay-per-view fight. So at $10 a pop, you can imagine people, that would be the type of fight that people would probably sign up to see, at least for that month. So they get this influx of all these $10 subscriptions to see Wilder Joshua on the network. And you don't know what that's going to tally to. So Wilder's putting a price versus when we're talking about non-flat fees, like percentages, pay-per-views and stuff, you can wait until the fight generates what it's going to do and then get a percentage or a slice of that pie, a cut, let's say 50%. Now you know what you're working with. With this DAZN, they're offering you money before things come into play. Here's another example of what I'm talking about. And all this makes sense unless you choose to not allow it to make sense. For example, what if Joshua looks horrible versus Gerald Miller, and then he barely beats Gerald Miller, but he beats him controversially? You know, Wilder, if he beats Dominic Breazeale via vicious knockdown and goes viral again, like he did with Luis Ortiz knockouts and Bermane Stiverne and the to this day meme and stuff like that, then his profile is enhancing. Meanwhile, if Joshua has a bad performance, then, you know, Wilder could maybe demand more, because like, hey, look, people are fucking with me more. Look at my performances. Look at my live game. So I feel like Wilder's at a point where you might as well play the field, let the dust settles, see what is going to happen, see what's available, see who does what in this upcoming shit. Who is Tyson Fury going to fight? Can ESPN, will they offer me some money? You know, can we do an ESPN Showtime joint venture? Can we do a Dazn Showtime joint venture? Can we get this on pay-per-view, etc.? As opposed to letting Dazn offer you a lump sum, which sounds good, but you don't know how much money the fight is going to be worth. Second of all, you got to look at it historically. See, you guys, a lot of y'all don't know business, and it's funny and it shows. You got to look at it. Mayweather fought Maidana. It did X amount of pay-per-views, right? A lot of people thought Floyd was going to easily outbox Maidana. When they found out and seen Maidana, how hard he fought, and that he, you know, gave some good rounds to Floyd, and he was rough and he was going for broke, that catapulted the rematch to become even bigger. This is another point that other people aren't talking about. So historically speaking, when you look at rematches, you know, based on how the first fight, if it's a needed rematch, the rematch is oftentimes bigger, like Mayweather Maidana, right? Oftentimes bigger. There's more money. Like Andre Ward made more money in the second Kovalev fight than he did in the first Kovalev fight, right? You look at this DAZN deal, they're saying 20, 40, 40. Why would he get the same? So no matter what the outcome is, if he knocks Joshua out in one round and has the boxing world shook, he's stuck at 40 million in the third fight with Joshua, because I'm assuming there would be rematch clauses. How dumb does that sound? So no pay-per-view, no chance to, it just doesn't make sense. So again, it's a lump sum buyout that sounds good because people are just looking at the number, but how does that make sense? Like I said, if Mayweather, let's say he rematched Oscar De La Hoya, the rematch will probably do better. The first fight was good and competitive, and put on Cinco de Mayo weekend again or Mexican Independence Day weekend, it'd probably do better, right? Oscar De La Hoya said if Mayweather rematched Canelo, the fight could be worth $1 billion. That's what he, whether it's true or not, that's what he suggested, right? So we all know rematches typically do better. With this DAZN deal, they're saying Wilder would be getting the same thing. And a lot of you guys, again, have not been in the business. Pacquiao fought Timothy Bradley for the third time and got $20 million from Top Rank. So you mean to tell me the two strong heavyweights, that have done the most resume-wise, knockout artists, Wilder's only worth $20 million more than Pacquiao Bradley 3? So Top Rank somehow, some way was able to pay Pacquiao $20 million to fight Bradley a third time, a fight nobody wanted to see, but the heavyweight American champ, the longest reigning heavyweight champ that we have in boxing, the strongest fighter we have in boxing, you're going to limit him to getting $40 million in the second fight and also the third fight, no matter the outcome. So, even if he knocks out Joshua, you see how stupid the deal is when you think about it? If he knocks out Joshua, he will be the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. And he's going to get the same amount in the third fight. Meanwhile, DAZN's going to make all this money on the back end. How much is Joshua getting if he gets knocked out in the first fight? And then Shelly Finkel brought up a very interesting point. He says, I don't think there will be a rematch after you see how bad he gets knocked out in the first fight. So, there's no guarantee. And then what, who are they going to pay him the $40 million? Can they put him in, if they have to, let's say Joshua didn't want a rematch and got knocked out in the first fight and didn't want a rematch, are they going to give him $40 million? Do they got it like that to rematch Adam Kanowski, or to fight Adam Kanowski, or rematch Luis Ortiz or something? So there's more than meets the eye with this deal. But again, Deontay Wilder would be definitely limiting himself. It's a good money up front, but he's definitely doing the right thing in my opinion, because he's playing the field and he's waiting for the dust to settle so he can see what's what, period. You know, because people's market value doesn't stay the same year upon year upon year. Like Teofimo Lopez, whatever he's getting paid for fights right now, you know, in a year and a half from now, if he's doing what he's been doing and stepping up the competition, his demand is going to be more. He's going to be worth more. That's just a fact. You know, to add to what I'm saying, Deontay Wilder last year was offered initially $12.5 million from Eddie Hearn to fight Joshua. Flat fee, no pay-per-view back in. That's it. And then Wilder offered him 50 mil, 50% back in, pay-per-view, blah, blah, blah. Then they came back and improved the offer to 15 million flat fee. Wilder was like, all right, fuck it, I'll take it. You know, whatever. I'll take it. Then they came up with more excuses and ended up fighting Povetkin. He was like, all right, whatever. Then he ends up fighting Tyson Fury. So fast forward to the future. About this time last year, people were saying that Wilder was foolish to not take $12.5 million. Then they offered $15 million after the $50 million offer from Team Wilder. Then they offered Wilder, you know, a little bit better, $15 million. A year later, they're offering him a 3-fight, $100 million deal, which is better than Eddie Hearn's deal. You see how that works? So people last year around this time were saying Wilder was crazy for not taking a flat fee of $12.5 to $15 million, right? They said he was stupid. Eddie Hearn was doing several interviews that you can still find on YouTube saying, oh, that's 5 to 6 times his biggest purse. I mean, he could get $2 million fighting Luis Ortiz, but Joshua's making the real money, and this is 5 to 6 times Wilder's biggest purse. Fast forward a year later, Wilder's being offered $100 million. He's being offered more money from that from ESPN. So he has options. Play the field. You know, don't let these people like throw a number at you and try to lock you into that and then not be happy with it later. Wilder's doing the right thing. Like I said, just last year, people said he was stupid for turning down $12.5 million. So how stupid is he? Because he could have fought, if he signed to Dazn, they said he could have fought Dominic Breazeale for $20 million. Listen how stupid you guys sound. Dazn offered him a 3-fight deal. They said $20 million for fight 1, fight 2, and fight 3 would be $40 million apiece. That equals $100 million. So if Dazn has the money and Eddie Hearn's with Dazn, and they're willing to pay $20 million for Wilder to fight Dominic Breazeale or any fighter of his choice on Dazn, then how the fuck did Eddie Hearn offer AJ versus Wilder? He offered Wilder less than that. So Wilder can make more money now fighting Dominic Breazeale than last year this time what Eddie Hearn and Barry Hearn and Rematch Room, were offering Deontay Wilder to fight fucking Anthony Joshua. And you tell me that there's nothing fishy with that. So Dazn got it like that to pay for $20 million for Breazeale. So he can this year, a year later, get $5 million more than Eddie Hearn offered him to fight Joshua for a unification for Undisputed. And you said in last year, y'all said Wilder was crazy for turning down $15 million. Yeah, man. I mean, how much? He's never going to see no money like this. You know, this is 5 to 6 times his biggest purse. You guys sound foolish. It's 5 to 6 times his biggest purse. But guess what? A year later, now they're offering him $5 million more to fight anybody. Dominic Breazeale, because they need him. Dazn needs talent. I rest my case. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.